Get your horns up, mates. It's time for the show.
Friends and family, welcome back to Bemusing Bill. Hail VASC Nation. I love you guys, man. I'm so happy to see you guys here. Seriously, it's been a long time. It's been like a minute. I'm happy to have you here. This is going to be cool. This is Dan VASC. That's right. Doing Over the Hills and Far Away. Gary Moore / Nightwish cover. So Gary Moore, he released his version back in 1986. Way after Led Zeppelin's. Way after. All right. That's something, right? Well, that's something. But it's Gary Moore's song that has been repeatedly covered. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, in 2000, Swedish Viking metal band Thurfing covered it in 2000. In 2001, Nightwish covered it, which peaked at #1 in Finland. So that was where Nightwish came in, right? And they weren't even the second to cover. There was another band from Ukraine that actually covered it even before the Swedish band did. Then Steven Seagal's, who I love, who I cover on this channel, they did a version of this song too back in 2015. I think I'll have to go and jump on that and check that out as well. Then the great Patty Gurdy did a cover of this song in 2018. So I got to check that out too. Love Patty Gurdy. And now Dan in 2019 does his version of the song. Here's the funny thing. I've never heard any of those versions. So Dan's, the most recent, will be the very first one I check out. Maybe I'll go backwards in time. All the way back to Gary Moore's. And check his out, maybe at the very end. So I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Because honestly, I'm not familiar with any of them. Words and music, folks. Words and music. I don't normally do that with a Dan VASC video because usually they're covering songs that I'm already familiar with. Probably all you guys are too, you know. So unless it's something that I've never heard before, I wanted to take a deeper dive, you know, then I do. So we're going to do that this time because I'm not familiar at all. And I think it'll be interesting, right? Don't you guys? Cool. That being said, this is a request from my dear, dear friend, Linda. Linda, thank you so much for all you do. I really appreciate you. You are the spiritual guidance of this channel, and I really love that. This link will be down below, so you could go over there and support Dan yourself if you haven't already, and do the thing to help YouTube understand how much we love Dan VASC. You know, the thing. All right? And if you'd like to support this channel, I got links down below for you to do just that. If you'd like to be like with Linda, one of our muses, and jump on our Patreon channel there. Listen, you could join Patreon for me. You can hang out with me. You can just join for free. You can do it for $1 a month, whatever you feel comfortable if you want to. But I just want you part of the family. You have other links down below, too, if you want to say thanks or request a song, whatever. All right? Really appreciate you guys. So, Linda, I hope you're ready. VASC Nation, I know you're ready. Kids, buckle up. Let's do it. Love the drums already.
They came for him a winter's night, arrested he was found. They say that being a robbery, his pistol had been found.
Oh, nice.
They marched him to the station house and waited to the dawn. And as they led him to the dock, he knew that he'd been wrong. To stand accused of robbery, he heard the bailiff say he knew without an alibi tomorrow's light would mourn his freedom over the...
Nice. This is cool. It's got a great... It feels very Celtic, don't it? This is my Gary Moore cover singing the song Over the Hills of Far Away Made Famous by NIGHTWISH. Well, amongst others, but probably the biggest one, right? Although that Patty Gertie video has gotten over 14 million views, that's pretty impressive. I was hoping there would be some comment here on the music, but I guess not. I wasn't sure who was playing guitar or doing the other music in this. This is awesome, and it's weird to see Dan in a not black shirt. I mean, I know there's black on the shirt, in the writing and stuff, but usually it's some kind of black shirt. Usually it's sleeveless, but sometimes you see him in a button-up, But yeah, so it's unusual to see Dan like colorful, even though it's a light gray. Still, it's kind of color, and he sounds very into it and very, you need to have that oomph, when you're putting behind these kind of lyrics. Dig it. Totally dig it. Sounds great. Of course he sounds great.
He must say he had to fight by tears of rage. His heart beat like a drum. For we're the one
like that too.
his master. His band, his final night of freedom. Over the hills and far away. He swears he will return one day. Far from the mountains and the seas. Back in her arms again he'll be. Over the hills and far away.
Nice. Classic Gary Moore there. Those are all such elements of Gary Moore. And he's one of those guitar players that, man, you notice so many progressions of his growth, from the 70s and through the 80s and stuff. It's just really, really cool. A lot of times you get a guitar player that pretty much sticks to what they know, and they're really good, but they don't, you don't really perceptively notice them getting better. There's a few that are like, wow, even as they've gotten into their 50s and 60s, all of a sudden they're playing like all this crazy stuff you never heard them play before. It's really amazing. I'm going to go back a little bit to that solo. Classic Gary Moore.
seas, back in his arms again. She'll be over the hills and far away. He swears he will return one day, as sure as the rivers reach the seas, back in his arms is where she'll be. Over the hills and far away, she prays he will return one day, as sure as the rivers reach the seas, back in her arms is where he'll be. Over the hills, over the hills and far away. Over the hills, over the hills and far away.
Nice. That was awesome. That was awesome. What did you expect from Dan VASC beside awesome? It's the best word to describe his voice. It's just freaking awesome. I loved it. I caught a lot of lyrics in there, so this is going to be really interesting. Let's check that out, huh? Where are we here? Right here? Yep. They came for him one winter's night, arrested. He was bound. They said there'd been a robbery. His pistol had been found. They marched him to the station house. He waited till the dawn. And as they led him to the dock, he knew that he'd been wronged. You stand accused of robbery, he heard the bailiff say. He knew without an alibi tomorrow's light would mourn his freedom. Over the hills and far away for 10 long years, he'll count the days. Over the mountains and the seas, a prisoner's life for him there'll be. So he's accused of a robbery. They found his pistol, and he knew without an alibi. So I guess he doesn't have an alibi, and they gave him 10 years. And then he's going to count the days, right? He knew that it would cost him dear, but yet he dare not say just where he'd been that fateful night. A secret it must stay. Oh, he's got an alibi, but he can't talk about it. He had to fight back tears of rage. His heart beat like a drum. For with the wife of his best friend, he spent his final night of freedom. Over the hills and far away, he swears he will return one day, far from the mountains and the seas. Back in the arms again he'll be, over the hills and far away. Each night within his prison cell, he looks out through the bars. He reads the letters that she wrote. One day he'll know the taste of freedom. Over the hills and far away, she prays he will return one day. As sure as the rivers reach the seas, back in his arms again she'll be. Over the hills and far away, he swears he will return one day. As sure as the river reaches the seas, back in the arms is where she'll be. Over the hills and far away, she prays he will return one day. As sure as the rivers reach the sea, back in her arms is where he'll be. So he ended up going and doing the time because he was getting it on with his best friend's wife. With the wife of his best friend. So he can't do nothing about it because he can't, throw her under the bus. I love this about music and diving into music. So thank you, Dan VASC, for covering the Nightwish version of the Gary Moore song, who brought his own take onto it. I mean, there's just over the hills and far away. Linda, thank you so much, my dear, dear friend. This has been wonderful. This has been wonderful. Always is. Always great hanging out with the VASC Nation, too. So, until the next one, my dear friends, you guys be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and Uncle Bill loves you. See ya.